Welcome everyone to this episode of Functional Spirituality. I'm your host Ava, and today I'd just like to share a quick introduction into our foundational teaching. So this is the basis for all of the material that I'll be sharing, and it's definitely the first thing that we cover in our retreats and our teacher training courses. So if you've attended those before, you've heard it many times. However, it can always be refreshed, and every time you hear it, I'm sure it hits and touches a different place depending on where you're at today. So the foundational teaching is really about the underlying understanding or underlying common belief or value that we have before we start to do spiritual practice together. So before we talk about the spiritual practice or practice meditation, we should check that we have this same underlying foundational understanding or viewpoint or goal of what we would like to awaken to or realize. So this foundational teaching it has 3 parts to it. And it sets us up for checking if our practice is going well and if we're on track, and also if we're both interested in the same thing. So it's really important to check that what I'm sharing and what this teaching is about is resonating with you and is what you're interested in, and it is what you're willing to invest your time and your precious awareness and energy into. So the first part of this teaching, the first premise, is that what we are, so what each of us is, what we are, is all that is. And all that is a vast reality. All that is a vast reality beyond time and space. So this first premise, that what we are is all that is a vast reality beyond time and space that is experiencing itself as an individual expression of all that is. So what we really are is everything beyond time and space, all that ever is. And we're that huge totality that is experiencing itself as an individual expression of all that is. The second premise is that through various conditioning, through various metaphysical, so you could say karmic and universal and personal conditionings, through anatomical conditioning, so how our brain works, through cultural conditioning like language, through a variety of different conditioning, we take ourselves to be an individual mind-body organism. So the first premise is that what we really are is all that is. But because of a variety of different conditioning, including how the body works and how the society works, we take ourselves to be something different than all that is. We take ourselves to be a mind-body organism. So on any day, if someone says, "How are you?" you don't check how all that is. You check out how your mind and body organism, this personal experience, that's what we take ourselves to be on a normal daily basis. And the third premise is that although we are conditioned to take ourselves to be an individual mind-body organism, what we actually are is an infinite source consciousness experiencing an individual mind-body organism. So our consciousness experiences this mind-body organism. So you can just refer now to your body and your feelings and your mind. That's what you take yourself to be. but you are consciousness, actually experiencing this mind-body individual, but capable of knowing itself as well, our true nature, this infinite consciousness. So, based upon that, this foundational teaching of awakening, how what we really are is consciousness, experiencing a mind-body individual reality experience, right? On a day-to-day basis, you experience your person. But the teaching includes the fact that we are capable, that consciousness is capable of not only knowing its individual expression, but it's also capable of knowing its universal true nature. So consciousness is not only aware of the mind and body, consciousness can also be aware of itself, which is this infinite source consciousness. This show is dedicated to creating wholeness and satisfaction through higher education. I recommend you go back into the app and subscribe to the podcast. The very nature of the spiritual path is cultivating an experience that lifts you up, and this small step can do just that. You can also discuss your insights and the subject matter with friends. Thank you for listening and for cultivating wisdom.